I hope everybody had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I know I did. Welcome to the Phillies Daily, everybody. I'm your host, Mike Hennelly. Make sure you guys subscribe for more Phillies content right here on Phillies Daily. I appreciate each and every single one of you that have been subscribed, have been here for a long time, have joined recently along the way here. Thankful for everyone. Let's dive right into it here today. Now, with it being Black Friday, I thought it would be a perfect time to discuss a franchise-altering move that happened a while ago now, about 20 or so years ago now, on Black Friday. And maybe you may not remember it if you're too young. I know I was a little bit too young, but maybe you do remember, or you just know that it happened, obviously, just because you are a Phillies fan, most likely. If you are watching this channel, some people aren't Phillies fans. They just like to tune in, but that's for another day. Back on Black Friday, back all the way in 2005, the Philadelphia Phillies traded veteran first baseman Jim Thome to the Chicago White Sox on Black Friday. Now, that was a major move at the time. Jim Thome, he's an incredible player, as we all know. He had been with the Phillies the previous 2 years, and then that season in 2005 ended up getting traded. But there was a dilemma between keeping Jim Thome, he was 34 years old at the time, or having their young guy, 25-year-old Ryan Howard, the big piece, take over and start the future there at the position. Again, very tough decision because Jim Thome was incredible, an MVP caliber player, but Ryan Howard was so elite, so still young. He had so many good years ahead of him, but kind of was blocked by Jim Thome there at the first base position. Thome did miss most of that 2005 season with an elbow injury, and that's why Ryan Howard kind of got an opportunity to start proving himself that year as well in 2005. Jim Thome had just had a major league leading 47 home runs in his first season with the Phillies back in 2003. He had 42 home runs and was an all-star the following year in 2004 with the Phillies. And then 2005 again missed a lot of that season with an elbow injury, ended up getting traded to the White Sox. Ryan Howard stepped in. He won Rookie of the Year. And then obviously, if you remember, Ryan Howard was the MVP of the National League the following year in 2006. He had a bunch of MVP close finishes years after that as well. Incredible player, incredible power, and just a very good decision for the Phillies to move forward there with Ryan Howard, the young guy, that he gave him a lot of great seasons, a lot of great memories, but obviously tough to part with a guy like Jim Thome, but he was on the back end of his career, and the Phillies made the right move. So that is a little bit of Phillies history, with today being back Black Friday, a huge franchise-altering trade that the Phillies made back then in 2005. Speaking of trades, the Phillies have been linked to some significant names on the trade market, not just free agency. As we all know, free agency has been open in Major League Baseball, and trades are also able to happen again ever since free agency opened as well a little while ago now. And the Phillies recently have been linked to Arizona, St. Louis Cardinals third baseman Nolan Arenado. The Cardinals have been reported to be expected to make more moves following the trade that they made the other day with the Boston Red Sox sending starting pitcher Sonny Gray to Boston. Nolan Arenado has been in trade rumors as of late. It just seems like that he will be traded. Seems like it's just time for that relationship to move on between the Cardinals and Nolan Arenado. In fact, MLB.com's Mike Petriello, he listed the Phillies as the fifth best trade option, fifth best fit for Nolan Arenado if the Cardinals were to trade the veteran third baseman. So significantly linked to him. He has been linked to the Phillies again in rumors and reports in the past as well. So Nolan Arenado, if you're not a big Major League Baseball fan, you probably heard of his name just because of how great he's been throughout his career. He was one of the best players for a little while there, for a few years back in his prime days. But Nolan Arenado, he has been incredible since he's been in the major leagues. He's now 34 years old, though. Third baseman, as I said, 13-year veteran, 8 years with the Colorado Rockies to start his career, and then the last 5 years with the St. Louis Cardinals. He's an 8-time All-Star, 5-time Silver Slugger, 10-time Gold Glover, and a 6-time Platinum Glove Award winner. He's been elite defensively throughout his career. Maybe not the same defensive guy he used to be. With all those Gold Gloves, those Platinum Gloves, one of the best defensive third basemen in Major League Baseball history, Nolan Arenado is. But he's still very good there on the hot corner for his age. He's able to make some terrific plays even at 34 years old. He's a future Hall of Famer. The resume is there for Nolan Arenado, as I had just listed to you there. However, this past year in 2025 with the Cardinals, not really his greatest season at the plate. He hit just 237 with 12 home runs and 52 RBIs. Now, he only played in 107 games, so he missed significant time with a shoulder strain injury, among other minor injuries as well. 272 hitter in 2024, though, the year before with the Cardinals. The power has regressed compared to years past, but he's still, again, an above-average defender at third base. He still has the potential to hit for 270. He still has the potential to hit for 20 or more home runs. But if they were to trade for a guy like Nolan Arenado, that would mean obviously Alec Bohm would have to find a new home, whether that's moving him to first base, moving Bryce Harper to the outfield, or Bryce Harper to designated hitter, or moving Alec Bohm to designated hitter, or trading Alec Bohm. We all know Alec Bohm has been in trade rumors. I've talked about it multiple times here on Phillies Daily. You can check out videos here on the channel if you'd like to see some of those thoughts and those rumors that have been happening in the past. But he's been in trade rumors going back to last offseason, the trade deadline, this offseason again, Alec Bohm. So if they're trading for a guy like Nolan Arenado, that means Alec Bohm is most likely on his way out of Philadelphia. Nolan Arenado does still have 2 years left on a pretty significant contract that he signed. So he's not going to be a free agent until 2028. So there is a 2-year commitment there. Some money as well committed to Nolan Arenado. It won't be cheap, but that's the type of move that you make if you're the Phillies trying to win a World Series championship in 2026 or 2027 right now with the team you have. Again, guys getting older. Bryce Harper's getting older. Trey Turner's getting older. Aaron Nola, Zach Wheeler, some other guys as well are all getting older now with the Phillies. So they're trying to keep this championship window open, at least for the next year or two, with some of these core guys still around. And Nolan Arenado could definitely help them win a World Series championship. Again, not the same player he used to be, but still a very good player at that in Major League Baseball. Speaking of Bryce Harper, now yesterday, obviously, Thanksgiving, you're with your family, you're with your friends, most likely, you're talking, you're a lot of just conversations, you're trying to think of different conversations. Obviously, as a Phillies fan, as a Philadelphia sports fan, and myself, my family, the Phillies ended up brought up into conversation. I was talking with my grandfather and a few other of my family members, talking about how I think different things should happen this offseason with the Phillies, what kind of moves they should do, what kind of moves they shouldn't make. But then we were kind of talking about some guys currently on the team, including Bryce Harper. And it really got me thinking, is Bryce Harper one of the best Phillies of all time already? He still has obviously like 6 or so years left on his contract here, unless he gets an extension that's been reported as well. But he's been very good for the Phillies. Obviously didn't have the best season last year, missed about a month's worth of time, so that's why the numbers were a little bit lower. Could have looked a lot better if he played those 30 or so games that he missed, but definitely not the same MVP caliber player he was just a few years ago with the Phillies, but he's still there. He's still at that potential. He's still a very elite player at the Major League level. Where does Bryce Harper rank among all-time Phillies greats? Specifically in the last 20 or so years I was talking about, because I'm 23, I'll be 24 next month in a few weeks. So really, I was thinking in my lifetime, the time that I actually remember Phillies baseball and was able to pay attention and follow it. And that kind of goes back to, I kind of remember 2008, 2009, but not really. I was still just a little kid. I was born in 2001, so I really couldn't follow them the way I follow them now and remember all that kind of stuff. 6, 7 years old, whatever I was. But kind of getting closer to the 2011-ish range is when I really started to be able to follow the Phillies a lot better and understand what's going on and really start to love them so much the way I do and get passionate about this team. So in that timeline, there's been a lot of great Philadelphia Phillies players, as we all know. There was Chase Utley, Jimmy Rollins, Ryan Howard, Carlos Ruiz, Cole Hamels, Shane Victorino, a bunch of guys like that, among others. But I'm talking about guys that were here long enough, not kind of guys that were like shortstops like Roy Halladay, kind of the Cliff Lees of the world, all those kind of guys. They were here for kind of short stints with the Phillies. So guys that have been with the Phillies for a significant amount of time, that played really well, that have been all-time greats. Obviously, before that, you have Mike Schmidt, you got Steve Carlton, you got all these guys that have been Larry Boa, so many guys that are just all-time greats in Major League Baseball, and obviously with the Phillies here. And then current teams, you got JT Realmuto, Kyle Schwarber, Aaron Nola, Zach Wheeler, JT Realmuto, all those guys, Bryce Harper, obviously. Very good for the Phillies over the last few years since they joined the teams as well, or have been with the teams. So just so many great players. But right now, is Bryce Harper is he like a top 5 guy in that span the last 20 or so years for the Phillies? Obviously, again, you have Chase Utley, Jimmy Rollins, Ryan Howard, But then you got Aaron Nola, Zach Wheeler, Bryce Harper, all these kind of guys are all just have been so good, had been so good. I think Bryce Harper definitely is in that top 5. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I know Bryce Harper has been a topic of conversation towards the end of that past season in the playoffs and the early in the offseason with the comments that Dave Dombrowski made about him. But still, he has been so good for the Phillies. He was a great signing. Any way you want to look at it, he was an MVP, All-Star multiple times. Just so good for this city, this fan base, everything. He's been so great. And I'm sure he has a lot more good years left in him. So by the time his contract is up with the Phillies, just maybe, you could even say he's a top 2, top 3 Philadelphia Philly of the last 20 or so years here, or maybe even all time, depending how it all works out. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. It would be interesting to talk about. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Phillies Daily. I'm your host, Mike Henley. Make sure you guys subscribe for more Phillies content. Like, comment, share, all that fun stuff. Now, tomorrow's Saturday, and then Sunday, obviously, the weekend. So there is no videos as I've been doing this offseason on the weekend on Saturday or Sunday. So I'll see you guys again on Monday. Enjoy your weekend. Again, hopefully you had a great Thanksgiving. And as always, go Phils.